Alright, so today we're talking about solving systems of equations using the elimination method. And what we have up here is we have a problem up here on the board that we're going to work out, that we're going to kind of show you how to get your steps and how to go through the process to solve the problem. So in this problem, what we did is we talked about the equation 2x plus 3y is equal to 10. And then on the other side, we talked about the equation 3x minus 4y is equal to negative 2. So what I want to do is anytime that I have these problems, I want to look at the numbers that are in the front. In other words, I want to look at these two numbers that are in the front and make sure the variables are the same. So in both of these numbers, I have 2x and I have 3x, which means that both variables are the same. So what I'm going to do with those two numbers is I'm going to take the 2x and I'm going to put the 2 down here so that I can multiply everything in that equation by 2. I'm going to take the 3 and I'm going to put it up here and signify that I'm going to multiply everything in that equation by 3. Now, anytime that I do this, I always want to flip the sign of one or the other. Now, it doesn't matter which one. Since both of these were positive, I can just pick one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the sign of the 2 and make it negative. You may have switched the one on top and made it a negative 3. Either way, you're still going to get the same answer at the end. So once we have that information, the first thing it says to do is to multiply by those numbers. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to multiply each of these by that number. So first off, we're going to say, what's 3 times 2? So we're going to get 6x. Then we're going to do 3 times 3y, which is 9y. And then lastly, we're going to do 3 times 10, which is going to be equal to 30. After that, we're going to do the bottom one. So on this one, we've got negative 2 times 3x, which is going to be negative 6x. We're going to do negative 2 times negative 4y, which is going to be 8y, or positive 8y. And then we're going to do negative 2 times negative 2, which is going to be positive 4. So it's all going to be equal to positive 4. Now, once we get to this next step, the second step says to add the equations. So we're going to add these together, or we're just going to combine our like terms. So starting up here at the top, we have 6x minus 6x. So what do we get when we say 6 minus 6? We get 0. They cancel out. So 6 minus 6 is 0, so those cancel out. Next, we have 9y plus 8y. So 9y plus 8y is going to be 17y. And then that's going to be equal to 30 plus 4. So what's 30 plus 4? 34. So to finish the problem out, we will divide both sides by 17. And when we divide by 17, actually, hold on a second. We're actually going to do that step over on the next side. So once it said to add the equations, so we added the equations. And then over here it says solve for one variable. So to solve for one variable here, we're going to get 17y equals 34. So now we can do all that we were talking about. So divide both sides by 17. 17's cancel, and we're going to get y is equal to 34, 34 divided by 17 is going to be 2. So we're going to get y equals 2. Now, once we get y equals 2, let's solve for one of the variables. So the next thing we want to do is we want to solve for the other variable. So to solve for the other variable, I want to come back and look at my first two equations. I want to look at the originals here. So when I look at those two original equations, I just want to pick one to work it out here. So I can pick either one of these. I'm going to go with, let's go with the bottom one, okay? I'm going to work this bottom. So in that one, I had 3x minus 4y is equal to negative 2. Now, going back to what I already know, I know that based on this, that y is equal to what? 2. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the y, and I'm going to substitute in the number 2 for y. So this is going to be 3x minus 4 times 2 equals negative 2. So all I have left to do now is just solve for x, and I have my answer. So I have 3x. What's negative 4 times 2? Negative 8. So I've got negative 8 equals negative 2. Next, I can add 8 to both sides. So the 8's are going to cancel out, and that's going to give me 3x is equal to negative 2 plus 8 is going to give me positive 6. Divide both sides by 3, and the x is going to be equal to 2. So we have y is equal to 2 and x is equal to 2. So to write our solution, we're going to have x comma y. So in order to write that down, we're going to write the x first. So here the x was 2. So that's going to be a solution of 2 comma. And then y, it says y is equal to 2. So that's also going to be 2. So here our solution should have been 2 comma 2. Alright, so go ahead and take a second and write this down. And if you have any questions on it, feel free to stop and raise your hand, and I'll answer your question the best I can. Alright, so now that we're finished with the other problem, what I want you to do is I want you to close your page over. Go ahead and close your foldable over. And what I want you to do is I want you to write on the outside of that this problem. So I want you to go ahead and write this problem you see up here on the board. Now, once you've worked this problem out, we'll go back over it. So go ahead and pause your video, and then we'll talk about it and go over the information. Alright, so looking at the problem here, what I want to go through and talk to you about is really this problem's a lot simpler than you may have made it out to be. Now understand, you can still take and multiply both top and bottom times the opposite of the x values here, or the x coefficients. So here you could take and put the 4 on top, you could put the negative 4 on bottom, and then you could change the sign of one of those. So we could change this negative into positive, and we could multiply it out. That's still going to give you a good answer here. Let's actually go ahead and do that, and then we'll talk about how we could have solved this one a little faster. So in this one, we would say 4 times negative 4 is going to be negative 16x. We've got 4 times negative 2y, which is going to be negative 8y. We've got 4 times negative 12, which is going to be equal to negative 48. And then on bottom, we've got 4 times 4x, which is 16x. 4 times 8y, which is going to be 32y. And then that's going to be equal to 4 times negative 24, which is going to be, that's going to be negative what? Negative 96. Thank you. Alright, so then all I'm going to do is take and combine those. So over here I have negative 16 plus 16, which is going to cancel. Next, I have negative 8 plus 32, so 32 minus 8 here is going to give me what? 24y. And then on the end out here, I have negative 48 minus 96. So I'm going to add those two together and get a larger negative number. So when I add them together, 8 plus 6 is going to give me 14. Carry my 1. 4 plus 1 is going to give me 5. So 5 plus 9 is going to give me 144. So when I divide this out, I want to divide both sides by 24. 24's cancel out. I'm going to get y is equal to negative 144 divided by 24 is going to give me what? Alright, it's going to give me negative 6. So it should give me negative 6 as an answer. Alright, so once I take it to that point, once I get my negative 6, I then can take one of these originals and plug it back in. So what I'm going to do is take the original bottom equation here, which was 4x plus 8y is equal to negative 24. So in this, I already know that y is equal to negative 6, so I'm going to plug that number in or substitute that number in for y. So this is going to be 4x plus 8, and then y says is negative 6, so I'm going to plug in or substitute in a negative 6 and get equals negative 24. So to work this out, I've got 4x. That's plus 8 times negative 6 is going to be negative 48. and that's equal to negative 24. From here, I can add 48 to both sides. 48's cancel out, and that's going to be 4x is going to be equal to 48 minus 24, or negative 24 plus 48 is going to be 24. Divide both sides by 4. 4's cancel out, and I'm going to get x equals 24 divided by 4 is 6. So in this problem, I'm going to get x is going to be 6, comma, and then y is going to be negative 6. Now, like I said, that's one way you could have went about solving this. That's one option you have here. The second option you have to solve this, and really you could have did this too, right? It doesn't, like, what I'm saying is either way is going to be successful here. But what you could have did is if you looked at the original problem, you probably noticed that you could have canceled something out or eliminated something right off the bat. So sometimes it's good always to go back and check and see what you eliminated at the beginning. All right, so let's go all the way back to the beginning. We're kind of going in reverse here. Let's go all the way back to the beginning and look at these problems in their original state. So if you notice and you look at these two problems, what do you notice about the negative 4x and the 4x here? They're already opposites and they'll already cancel out, right? If I say 4 minus 4, what's 4 minus 4? 0. So I can actually go ahead and combine these and say that those cancel out since they're the opposite. And then on this, I'm going to have negative 2 plus 8 is going to be 6y. And then negative 12 minus 21, that's going to add together and give me negative 33, right? 2 plus 1 is 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. Oh, it was 24. Sorry. I was wondering where my mistake was. All right, so it should give me 26. So let's go back and erase that. I was trying to find where that mistake was. All right, so now that we found where we were messed up, so 4 plus 2 would actually give us 6. Thank you guys for finding that. All right, so when we add those together, we can get negative 36. So then to find y, we divide by 6 on both sides, and we get y is going to be equal to negative 6. So it's really easy to solve. If you notice, there's a lot less work there in solving that problem. Now, as far as the other part of this problem, it's just like what we worked. You would take one of those answers, right, one of these originals, which we took this one a second ago, and we said that 4x plus 8y is equal to negative 24. And we said that we already knew that y is equal to negative 6. So we substituted in a negative 6 and got 4x plus 8 times negative 6 is equal to negative 24. So to solve this, like we said, we've got 8 times negative 6, which is going to be negative 48. And that's equal to negative 24. Add 48 to both sides. 48's cancel, and that's going to be 4x is equal to 24. Divide by 4 on both sides, and we still get the same answer. We get x equals 6. So notice the answer is going to be the same. We still get 6 comma negative 6. So like I said, either way you decide to solve this one, this is actually the faster way. But if you're one of those people that you just have to do it one way, you can go ahead and flip those and multiply them through. You're just going to end up with some bigger numbers. So it might be a good idea to use a calculator on that. But if you ever see anything that's the same, even if it's the y's are the same, you can actually cancel the y's out if they are the same as well. So keep that in mind when you're working these problems, and you shouldn't have any big issues. All right, the only other thing I want to talk about before I let you go is that if you end up solving a problem down and say that all the variables go away, if you get something that's a true statement like 0 equals 0, or 1 equals 1, or 2 equals 2, all right, all of those would be examples of when we have infinite solutions. Now, outside of that, let's say if we had answers that wasn't true, okay, so we could have answers that are not true, like 0 equals 2, okay, we know that's not true, or 1 equals 3, we know that's not true. These are examples of no solution. So all I want you to do is just make sure that when you're working the problems out today, you keep that in mind as you go. All right, go ahead and look at your worksheet. Go ahead and do some practice problems. If you have any questions about this, feel free to let me know.